Okay, I think I should have prepped before I started this video, but I think I'm on part 9. Is that right? I think I left off with finishing up talking about the live action shows that Disney has put out for Star Wars. And I think it's probably time to move on to the original Thrawn trilogy. And I am saying the original Thrawn trilogy because more Thrawn books have been written, and I made the mistake of thinking they were related to the original Thrawn trilogy, but because Disney isn't including some of the stuff from there, they're just kind of trying to take the Thrawn character and hoping that his name is enough to keep fans of Thrawn interested. Anyway, original Thrawn trilogy. When they came out, there wasn't really an internet yet. So, like, there was a rumor mill about it, but it wasn't like there were like forums, places people could go online to talk about these books or to hear what plans were around them. But there were rumors, and I guess I heard most of them via television and like special features and, well, anyway. The idea was that because the original Thrawn books, starting with Heir to the Empire, were set fairly soon after Return of the Jedi, like a couple years. So I guess roughly the time frame of Mandalorian, which is interesting, but possibly not relevant. The idea was that the Republic was trying to still pick up pieces, get everything working again, and Leia was a major part of that. She was trying to help piece the government back together. The Imperials were scattered, were no longer as significant a force. There wasn't a particular leader that was keeping them together, so there were like some essentially pirate bands of them. Luke had not started his own Jedi Academy yet, but he remembered, of course, what Yoda asked him to do, which was to pass on what he had learned. And he was really struggling with whether or not he could be a good enough teacher, or if he knew the material well enough to be a teacher to other people. Like, he just didn't have confidence in himself. And Han was trying to not participate in smuggling so much. He was pretty much just trying to help Leia out, I think, if I remember correctly. And I should point out, too, that it's been a while since I've read these books. So my details might be a little fuzzy. But what I just described is, I think, kind of the starting point of the books. And they deal with the aftermath of Return of the Jedi and what the heroes of the original trilogy are trying to do. So when the books became fairly popular, It was rumored that they were essentially the episodes 7, 8, and 9 stories we'd always heard the rumors that there were supposed to be 9 episodes. And we kept hoping, like, oh man, I hope they make these into movies. This would be great. Be a lot of fun to see this story play out, this action. And obviously that never happened. So I think I started out my little review this way because I wanted to set the scene for you, so to give you the context. I don't know how old you are, or if you were a fan of Star Wars at that time, or if you had read any of those books. And so I'm just trying to give you a little bit of information to work from to understand what I'm going to talk about. And for non-spoiler stuff, I was like most other people, I think, where I really liked the books and really wanted that to be, like, it was canon Star Wars, per George Lucas. He signed off on those books and was happy with them. So, we all thought, hey, this is awesome. These books are good. Why aren't they making them into the episodes 7, 8, and 9? And I was right there with them. I like the books enough that I think that would have been a good thing. And if you remember me talking about Return of the Jedi, as an example of when people were starting to not push back on Lucas's wonky ideas, namely the Ewoks. Yeah, subject of another video, perhaps. Anyway, people didn't push back on Lucas using Ewoks, even though they're ridiculously incapable of fighting stormtroopers realistically. What I'm trying to nod back to is the fact that I acknowledge that there are flaws with the original trilogy, and likewise, I'm going to acknowledge that there are flaws with these books, the original Thrawn trilogy. They were very, very good, but there are little bits that I would prefer had been done a different way. Just my opinion, of course. And so now I will head into material that might include spoilers, and that's going to go right to the end of this video. So if you haven't read the original Thrawn trilogy that starts with Heir to the Empire, and are interested in it, then maybe the rest of this video is something you should skip, at least until after you've read them, and then you can see if you agree with me on those couple points. So to get a little bit further into it, you may, and spoilers are beginning here, you may have heard the name Mara Jade, and she is from these books. Like, she originated in these books. She's used in other places as well. Later, she came from these books. And it's interesting because they give her a backstory that involves her being another Force-using helper of the Emperor, and I fully support the idea that the Emperor had a bunch of pots going in the kitchen. I've never really liked the whole rule of two thing. Bane is an interesting character, but maybe that's something else I should add to these reviews. The the long ago stories that were written, but not for right now. Mara Jade, Force user who was known as the Emperor's Hand, and she was kind of a fixer for him that no one really knew about. Like, she was known, like actually known face to face, as being just an assistant, a low-level assistant of the Emperor's, and like no one treated her with any respect, and just, you know, like, who's this person? Why is she even in this room? Somebody tell her to go get me a coffee. And I'm near the end of my drive. Maybe I needed more time for this. So all right, I'll end with Mara Jade is awesome, and over the course of the books, and this is definitely spoilers, she ends up being the romantic interest of Luke Skywalker. They even have kids together, and I think they really missed an opportunity there to introduce Mara in the movie Force Awakens, episode 7. Episode 7 should have been so different. Mara Jade's awesome, and I will continue talking about that when I do my next thing. Thank you, and see you next time.